Right. Thank you for sharing that, bhai. So next, I want to talk about some recent developments regarding visas. As most of us know, some unfortunate news came in earlier this week with the hold of student visas, which has also impacted the J-1 visa. So, how do you see this working out in the long term, and will it make it even more difficult to get research spots in the future?
I mean, these are very uncertain times, and it is very hard for anyone to predict, like, what is the future looking out for it. And it's not just hard for us IMGs, it is hard for even the people in US, because a lot of grants have been cancelled. A lot of institutions are being targeted. So like it's a very uncertain situation. And I think definitely, if you're just starting out, I mean, it is a very huge debate. Like, let's say if you're just starting out for step one, but then again, if you're convinced that, like, US is the place where I want to work in future, then nothing is going to stop you, even these circumstances. So again, you should always take these factors into evaluation. It is definitely hard these days. I would tell my example. So I got the formal acceptance for this position while I was in the US doing my rotations. And I wanted to travel back to Pakistan to meet my family after completing my rotations. But due to this change, I was not able to travel back to Pakistan. I applied for a change of status from the B1 to J1 within the US because I was afraid if I go back to Pakistan, my J1 research visa, it might go into administrative processing. And I was not willing to take that risk. So like now I've been here for like 5 months without seeing my family. But again, for your career and these things, you have to make these tough decisions at some point. So um I mean, my sympathies are with everyone who is going through this process right now, people who are applying for B1 B2, people who have rotations coming up, but again, I would say is having a faith in almighty, no matter what religion you follow, having a faith in an ultimate almighty, it really helps because if something is meant for you, it is meant for you, and no one can stop it from getting to you.
All right, and I want to briefly go over the EB1 and the O1 visas for research scholars. Could you elaborate what these are?
Okay, so I think like I don't know much about the Oven visas, honestly, and I don't have anyone in my network who is working on Oven visas. About the EB1 and EB2, I have a limited understanding, but my understanding is that like these visas are for people who are extraordinary in their field, and then through this pathway you can apply for citizenship and green card in the future. But I think it is very hard for this pathway as a medical student or early career researcher, because the criteria for these EB1 and EB2, you need to have like your work published in really good journals, very high impact factors. You need to demonstrate that like you are at a certain level of leadership in your field. And also like this field, it is very important for US research interest and national security and these things. So I think I might not be the authority or the best person to give advice on this. The EPNA group, or especially Dr. Fateh Shehzad, who is a Pakistani doctor here in the US, a graduate of King Edward Medical University, I think he is the mentor we go to when we encounter a problem with our visas, because he has a very extensive understanding of these things. But also, I'm sure you can find a lot of information on the internet and as well.
So next we're gonna move on to the Q&A, but before we do that, I have some questions that some students asked on the forms we sent them. We've covered most of the topics, but some questions were left, so I want to address them right now. So first off, someone has asked, so how do you make a cold email stand out?
Okay, so you know, um first off, like, I do not want to come off as someone who has achieved something and now, I have standards or something. Please, like, I am very accessible. I try to be accessible. Sometimes, because a lot of people reach out to me, sometimes I get irritated. It is very human, but like, I make sure to reflect on it. I apologize to many students that, like, I wasn't able to reply to your text on time. But having said that, there are a lot of people who would expect you to respond to hi HRU on LinkedIn. I mean, what are you trying to achieve with that? Like, hi HRU with a question mark. And when you don't reply, they barrage you with, like, five, six question marks more in the next message. These things, they do not help. And honestly, they are not respectful. People there, you will get people even attendings who will forgive these things because they are just so kind and accommodating. And I'm not saying that I haven't ever done these mistakes. I mean, we always commit these mistakes at some point, when we don't have a hang of things. But I think these days, with the kind of knowledge and access and exposure everyone has through the internet, it comes off really lazy on an applicant's part if you're reaching out to a mentor, and you are communicating this way. So having good communication skills, I think it really helps you stand out. So this is one thing. Another thing is, I have also seen people misspelling attending's name in the cold email they send, or they have a template they send to everyone because they do not change the names or the field of interest. You know, these people are very busy. They have a very busy schedule. Even a first year resident here in the US, he or she does not have the time to talk to their family sometimes. So if you have a person in the US who is giving you guidance, who is giving you, answers to your queries, please do not take it for granted. This is my experience after coming here and, starting my position and my rotations. Because the workflow and, transitioning to this system, and in Pakistan we have house help and things for everything. Here, you have to clean your apartment on Sunday, you have to get your laundry done, you have to get other things done, you have to tend to your pending work, you have to talk to your family because you haven't talked to them in 2 weeks, all these things. And sometimes you don't have a lot of family support here, you're doing these things on your own. It is very hard, trust me, like, it's not easy. I would say the quality of life, it is far more better in Pakistan compared to US. And you people will realize it, inshallah, when you come here and when you work. Because the time amount of time have we get to spend with family in Pakistan, it definitely exceeds the amount of time we can have with family over here in the US, even for attendings. The average work day, it is very different from Pakistan. So make sure you respect people time, you are punctual. If someone has given you an interview at 8, make sure you are at 8, make sure you are at 7:50. That is the ideal thing. Make sure that you are respectful. Even if someone rejects you for an opportunity, make sure you thank them. Okay, like, make sure you follow up with a respectful thank you email, because eventually it is all about making meaningful connections. One door that is closed for you right now, it might get opened for you later on, but having good connections, it always helps. So make sure whatever email you are sending, whatever LinkedIn messages you are sending, no spelling mistakes, no pronunciation mistakes, no mistakes about the kind of work your attending is doing. Do not make these kind of blunders. Also try to personalize make sure you read up on at least a couple of papers from your attending before reaching out to them. Also, another thing that I realize now, do not ask for a favor in your first email, like, oh, I am this and I want to get a research position, please help me. No, like, no one is going to respond to this. Express an interest in their work. Okay, express their interest in their work, try to follow up with a couple more emails, and try to portray how you are going to be beneficial for their work. This is the best strategy for emailing, and I have seen this strategy work for some of my rotations. For my research position, it was a different situation because I was recommended by an attending for an interview, and I won't say that, like, I got the interview through cold emailing. I would say that it was through my connection with that attending, that he introduced me to that position. And then, in the interview, I liked the panel, I liked the kind of work they were doing. I was fortunate that they liked me enough to offer me the spot. So once you have an interview, it is your research and communication skills.
Right. There's another question. So, is it possible to get these positions without ECFMG certification and passing the USMLEs?
It is hard, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone because passing USMLE with these positions, it is very hard. Please avoid it as much as you can, because make sure, in the ideal case scenario, that you are ECFMG certified, you're done with your steps before you join these positions, because the work hours are going to be crazy, the workload is going to be crazy, it is not going to be possible. I mean, there are always people who manage to do that, but uh, from my experience, I had my step 3 pending. uh, I actually rushed my step 3 and passed it with like a less than ideal score, but like I wanted to get it out of way before I started this position, because I was afraid that if I prolong it and I start my position and I'm not done with my step 3, then I won't be able to get it done before the match cycle. So that's what I think. People might have different opinions, and again, it is a very subjective matter. If you can make it work, for sure. But then again, most of these positions, at least our lab, we don't take people who are not ECFMG certified.
Right.
So ECFMG certificate, unless you have a very, very, like, very heavy research CV, uh, you know, uh, otherwise you need ECFMG certification.
Okay. Can you talk a bit about research electives? Because I'm aware Hopkins has a program, and some students are asking whether they should apply to that or not.
Hmm?
Research electives. Can you talk a bit about that? Johns Hopkins University has a research elective program that takes international students. So, could you tell us whether we should apply for it or not?
I think definitely if you can make the finances work,
Okay.
uh, if it is not very costly,
It's about five
all
hundred
those
dollars
things.
to apply.
Uh, okay, $500 to apply. And what about, like, if you get accepted, what about the
It's
accommodation and
it's
these
a
things?
two or it's a 2 or 3 months program. They have no tuition
Okay.
fees as far as I know, but the accommodation and the
I
rest
think
is up to you.
definitely as a medical student in third or fourth year, definitely for sure,
Okay.
100%. But then again, if you are applying for these things as a graduate, it is going to be difficult, because if you, I mean, always working or having something like Hopkins, Harvard, Stanford, Mayo in your research, in your CV, it is going to help for sure. But again, it depends on your goals. If you are applying for the match, you need to demonstrate clinical skills and you need to have clinical LORs as well. So if you
Right.
are just doing a research elective and you don't have any clinical letters, then you are going to be filtered out by most of the community programs. And again, just doing a rotation, for example, it would be unfair for me and unrealistic for me to say, oh, after working at Mayo, I can target Mayo as in residency as well. So uh, that's just unrealistic, because to match at these places you need to like have a really stellar profile in terms of everything. And as an IMG, if you do not have that, then do not waste your signals on signaling these big places, because being practical, it really helps. So uh I mean, if you are getting this kind of opportunity in third or fourth year, even in final year, for sure go for this. It is going to really benefit you. Make sure you make the most out of your time, connect with people, connect with attendings. It will also get help you get more rotations. But again, it is a cost benefit analysis. If it is, for example, I know some elective is at Stanford. When I was applying for my rotations, the fee was like 7,000 US dollars. I mean, that is nuts. That doesn't make any sense. Also, a rotation at Sunny Upstate, it was costing $1,500. So, you always have to see the cost. Cleveland Clinic, I think they have $500 for a rotation application fee.
Yeah, it's about 400, $500, and then
So
$100
like
for every week you
Cleveland
rotate.
Clinic, Cleveland Clinic is worth it, because you would be also working in clinical setting and getting huge exposure. Hopkins would also be worth it, but if it is just like an average university, then doing a solely dedicated research elective at a high cost, it might not be the best choice.
Someone has asked about remote research roles. So, can a student get them working in Pakistan?
Harun, your voice is breaking for some reason. I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
And so, someone has asked about remote research roles, right? So, what are they, and how can a student from Pakistan get them?
So, a very good question. I think one of the things that helped me in my application for this position was the remote work that I was doing with Dr. Umair Mushtaq while being in Pakistan. So, the best way to go about these things is Twitter and LinkedIn. You will find a lot of opportunities. You will find a lot of residents in the US who are trying to find people they can collaborate with, on their research projects. So it is all about your communication and your networking skills, how you connect with people. And for these, your best friends are LinkedIn and Twitter.
All right, bye. I think that's all the questions I have from my end. Haris has a brief announcement to make, so over to you, Haris.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible, Harun?
Yes.
Yes, Aris, we can hear you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am Haris Mumtaz Malik and currently the president of Ravalian Student Research Society. I would like to extend my humble gratitude to Dr. Humayun for a very informative session. Your guidance in this matter will be invaluable to us students as we focus on our career pathways, particularly in United States. If you don't mind, my Dr. Humayun, I would like to briefly talk about RSRS for a bit. Uh,
Yes, for
so
sure, for sure.
Thank you. Ravalian Student Research Society is a non-profit student-based organization of Rawalpindi Medical University organized to develop research culture at undergraduate level, from arranging workshops, lecture series, and mentorships to organizing international conferences. RSRS works with the motto of makes student research easier. Just last year, RSRS mentored more than 1,000 students over the course of 22 sessions and series in addition to our mentorship programs and grant conference recon. Additionally, I would like to announce our summer pulse course in this summer vacations from 21st to 29th June. Of course, I will share the details in the groups. And once again, thank you, Dr. Humayun, for your kind guidance. And sorry for the abruption. Humayun, Dr. Harun, please carry out the rest of the session. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Haris. So now I just want to move forward to the actual Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, you can raise your hands and we'll try to unmute you. Get your question.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Abdullah. How are you?
Hi, thanks. I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So I'm Joshua Jameel from Batch 47. Uh, so I would like to ask that if experience with softwares like R and Python, uh, would they count when interviewing for such positions, and how much valuable are they, and should we invest our time learning those skills?
Thank you so much for this good question. 100%, because, our lab, our work is heavily focused on R and Python. I know many other labs, and in research, I think if you have like a good working skill with R and Python, you are going to be very beneficial for a lot of people. So it is definitely a skill worth investing your time, money, and effort in, and it will make you stand out from a lot of other applicants as well. So if you have good skills, for example, I would quote, yesterday we had a class from one of the mentors in our lab who has matched into residency, and he was teaching us like survival analysis using R. So if you know these things beforehand, before joining or before applying, it is going to make such a huge difference in your profile compared to someone's profile, like, for example, mine, who didn't have such an understanding of these skills before formally transitioning to the lab.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
I think, like, just my suggestion, we can do Q&A via the chat box, because I think it would be hard for to do this way. Like, you guys can just like post your question in the chat box, and I would try to answer them.
Uh, Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Can I ask one question?
Walaikum Salam. Yes, for sure.
Dr. Abdullah, like med school GPA or percentage matters while applying for the match. What are the program directors' insight or take on this? Do they look into the medical school 5 years transcript?
Yeah, so I think definitely it makes a difference. If you have distinctions, if you have good GPA, if you have the dean's letter for something, it is definitely it will help your CV stand out from a lot of people. But having said that, if you don't have it, it's not, you cannot say, oh, like, how am I going to compete or work? Definitely, there would be other avenues on which you can work more, work harder to demonstrate that you have covered those gaps. So, I mean, if you're still in medical school, for sure, aspire for excellence, aspire for good grades, good GPA, because these things do count in research positions as well as in the match process. But if you do not have it, you can put in more work in other things, and demonstrate that you have covered those deficiencies.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving forward, we're gonna try to answer questions from the chat box because that'll be more convenient. So, Abdullah bhai, you can open the chat box,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. So someone else asked like about undergrad research, about, okay, so it's about like the workshops. Okay. The one thing I would say is workshops are useless. If you have taken one, it's good. After that, if you're just taking workshops and you're thinking your CV is building, you're doing something, you are fooling yourself, because what actually counts is your practical experience. and most of these things, like you can learn from YouTube. For example, R, Python, meta-analysis, network meta-analysis, survival analysis, all those things you can learn from YouTube. You can learn from free resources. You don't need to invest a lot in research workshops. This is my understanding. um, Definitely, my first project was with I think a research group from King Edward, and they charged us for enrolling in that module. But what was really important was they actually taught us meta-analysis and helped us publish the paper. So we went through all the steps, and it was not very costly at that time. Now, according to my understanding, that program is very costly, so I don't recommend it to anyone now. But at that time it was very cost effective, so I went for it, and it really helped me start my research. This is one thing. Another thing is that you learn research by working. I started, even now, most of the work I've done, screening, data extraction, simple analysis, those things. But now I'm trying to transition to like more complex analysis, and manuscript writings, trying to learn grant writings as well. So you learn these things by getting involved in projects. You have to take the initiative, reach out to people, then learn those things, ask help from your friends, and it will really help you. But if you're just attending workshops and you are expecting, oh, it is building up my profile, it doesn't work like that. So this is one thing. Can we get an LOR while working at a research position before it's completed? Yes, you can. For sure, you can. I got an LOR from Dr. Umair Mushtaq for my ERAS application in the SOAP last cycle. So I did just like a couple of projects with him for ESCO, and I was not even in the US at that time, but he was kind enough to write a research LOR for my application, and I think I would be asking him again for my application this year as well. um yeah, like definitely you should go for summer research internships, any kind of learning experience, any kind of opportunity, if it comes up and it doesn't require a lot of resources, for sure you should go for these. Someone has asked
Dr.
about
Abdullah,
neurosurgery.
Dr. Abdullah, I wanted to ask, like, if to match in good programs, like in excellent programs, what sorts of connections you need? Like, if you have a stellar profile, but still you don't match at good programs. So, is it matching at good programs through all networking? What would you like to say on that?
Thank you so much for the question. I think I might not be the best person to answer this question because I haven't matched myself. So I think, if someone who is matched into residency and you can get this question from them, it would be a far more better advice coming from them compared to like coming from me, who is going to apply for the match this cycle and has not yet matched into a residency position as of now. So like I would be very cautious giving advice on this aspect, and would like to stick to the thing I have achieved is like landing a research position at Mayo. So this is something I can talk about because I went through it and now I am here working. But about the match process, I don't think I am someone to go for advice for, because I still have not matched, and I'm going to apply for this cycle. So moving to the next question, someone has asked for neurosurgery. I think the best way is to connect with someone in neurosurgery, connect with some attending, try to do some remote work with them, connect through LinkedIn, and then they are going to guide you, and you are going to find your path. So definitely it is possible. It is not something that is not possible, especially if you have decided early on in med school, like in, let's say, third or fourth year. You still have time to build up your profile, and connect with your peers, connect from people from Aga Khan who are more well informed about the US pathway. So definitely it will help you in your process. I think I have tried to answer most of the questions in the chat box, and I don't see any more questions.
Right,
Um,
bhai, should just end the session then?
should we give steps before applying for research trainee positions right after graduation? I think again it is subjective. I know some people, I know some peers who they did their steps in their research year, but again I think it is hard, at least for me, because coming to a new place, working out with the new system, being away from your family and like handling everything, I think it it gets a bit difficult. But again, it is a very subjective choice. People do it. I didn't do it. Like, I did my steps before coming here. So again, it's not a black and white, or set in stone type of thing. um okay, so someone
Right,
has
I
asked
think
about
we'll
the
cross.
electives. Yeah, I think like I would
Well,
just answer one more question and then
oh,
we
okay,
can
bhai.
wrap up for today.
Okay.
And what you guys can do is, I would share my email, and anyone who wants to reach out, they're very welcome to reach out by email or through my LinkedIn profile. But please like have
Right.
some patience,
Right. Thank you, bhai.
because I am going through my start date, and again with the math cycle. So definitely there will be some delays on my part, but I will try to answer everyone, within you know not making them wait, because I don't like to make people wait. But again, sometimes it does get hard, managing everything. Yeah. So the last question was about the electives. You should do electives everywhere you get the chance. I mean, Shaukat Khanam, Agha Khan, if you are in med school in Pakistan, definitely go for these places. They will help you in getting better exposure. And, don't try to think of things as additions to your CV. Try to think about things from a learning perspective. So if whatever chance you are getting in any specialty, try to connect with those people in Pakistan. For example, like let's say someone expressed their interest in neurosurgery. So what you can do is, if you are located in Pindi, Islamabad, find a neurosurgeon at Shifa, try to shadow him, for a start. If you are in Karachi, try to find a neurosurgeon in Aga Khan and offer to shadow him. So these things, they really helped you in the long way and in your learning process. So I think we are done with the questions now. And
Right.
Harun, I
So,
think we can wrap up.
thank- yes, bhai. Thank you so much for your time today. I understand it's Sunday and it's the only day that you probably get to rest. So we at Team RSRS are grateful for your time, and I hope
No, like
everyone enjoyed the
thank
session.
you, thank you for everyone who joined in. Thank you guys for like inviting me. And again, I would say, like, not from a point of humility, Harun and Haris, I count them as like my mentors. These people, like I have
Right.
learned a lot from them. I have learned a lot from some of the people who are not here, like Abdullah, who is my junior from RMC. So like this is something I find really exciting about medicine, that there is no limitation to learning. You can always learn from everyone around you, and I am very grateful to have these kind of juniors from my med school who I have the ability to connect and learn from even now. So definitely thank you guys, and thank you so much
So
for
thank you
everyone
so
who
much,
joined
Abdullah bhai.
in. Yeah.
Conference.